In this tutorial, we're going to examine how to use the Student Services Tracking form within Google Docs. First of all, you'll have to sign in to your Google Docs account, and once you're there, you should see that the Student Services Tracking form has been shared with you. This, however, is just a read-only copy, so your first job is to open up that form. And go to File and make a copy. Click on OK. And you'll notice immediately we're taken to something called Copy of Student Services Tracking Form. Probably the next thing we'll do would be to rename that. So we'll call this Cal's Copy of Student Services Tracking Form. Now this is ours to use however we see fit. First job, once we have it copied, will be to enter your schools. So if, let's say, you worked in Pontex School and Val Marie School and Frontier and let's say Wymark. Now you'll notice that these values changed because of course we have no entries for those schools. Our next job will be to get rid of these dummy entries that are in here. So we highlight by clicking and dragging, and then right click and we say delete rows 11 to 13. Now one thing to get used to when working with spreadsheets in Google Docs is that they save automatically. There actually isn't a save button here. So it's already been saved. It says it's, notice up here, auto saved at 12:26. Now at this point we can begin to use the form to enter data into our spreadsheet. So we go to Form and we go to Live Form. Once our form is up, we can begin to enter data, but I'm going to suggest that because this is something we're going to use repeatedly, we're going to want to make a shortcut for this form. So we're going to highlight this and go Control C. We're going to go out to the desktop. We're going to right click, go New, Shortcut, and we're just going to Control V to paste. That's Control V as in Victor. Click Next. Give it a name. Now anytime we want to use that student tracking form, we can just open that up right there. But we've got it in front of us here, so we just go type in the information. Now when you're selecting the school, you can jump to that school's name by typing in the first letter. So Wymark was one of our schools. If we hit W once, we see the first W. If we hit W again, it'll take us to the second. We can hit the Tab key to go to the next field, and likewise we can just type in the grade level rather than choosing from the drop-down box. We can hit Tab to go to Continue and press Enter to go to the second screen. Now here's where we record our contacts. Let's say we had direct contact with the student, phone contact with the parent, and email contact with the administrator and classroom teacher. We may or may not have contacted outside agencies. Let's say in this case we emailed the Chinook vertical team. We can then press Tab or click on Continue, and now we determine where this student is at. Perhaps Johnny has to check in frequently, and some case notes, and we click Submit. Now If we're in the middle of a day with a number of contacts, we could just leave it here or click go back to form, and we'd be ready to fill out that form when the next student contact is done. And that's the basics of using the Student Services contact form or tracking form. What remains to be seen, however, is how that data is actually entered into our spreadsheet. So if we go back to our spreadsheet and we look, we see here that now it's entered an entry. It's time-stamped, date-stamped, and it's got Johnny Be Good, school is Wymark, and so on, and it records all the contacts that we've made across the spreadsheet. Now you'll notice a few things up at the top here. There are formulas that calculate how many contacts we've had for each school. So because this was a student from Wymark School, we have one contact there. It also says how many phone, direct, email, letter, or other contacts we've had with students, parents, administrators, and so on. All of that is tallied automatically. And we have some other summary columns. This column tells us the number of contacts in total, and way over on the right we have other contact totals. So the number of total phone contacts we've had since we began recording, the number of direct contacts, and the number of email contacts, and so on. So that gives you an idea of the kind of summative data you come up with because you were able to enter your data in the form. So let's just recap what using the student tracking form is going to look like on a daily basis. We've created our shortcut on the desktop. So really all we need to do to access the student tracking form is double click on that shortcut. This takes us directly to our form where we can begin to enter student contact information. Again, the quickest way to go through these is with the tab keys and the first letters of schools, and again check any information that applies, and submit. And we can leave this window open and simply go back to form, and we're ready for our next student contact. We actually never have to visit the spreadsheet unless we want to look at the summary information. So using the Student Services tracking form is as simple as clicking on that shortcut, opening up the window, and entering our information throughout the day.